Oh, Lord. Damn traffic. Yo, good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. Freedom Marchers. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2022. It's supposedly a new year, even though it's technically the 11th month, right? The 11th month, if you go by the etymology of the names of the months, right? You know, Jan is 11. Shot Shillings was good. Yeah, so it's the 11th month of the year that they're calling the new year. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they would say the new year is in the dead of winter or in the beginning of winter or whatever, but you know, that's another stream. That's another stream. In reality, the new year occurs on the spring equinox. But again, you know, hey, I'm just a guy, right? I'm just a guy. How y'all doing this morning? Just wanted to get into something real quick while I take my work truck to the shop. You know, gotta take my work truck to the shop. Just got it, and already, you know, the transmission fluid is leaking. You know, is leaking all out of the rear differential. So definitely gotta take that to the shop before I drive 4.5 hours into Georgia. So I ain't trying to get stuck or stranded. But I just wanted to touch on something real quick because I'm seeing the shit that's going on in terms of this gender war that we got, right? We basically have a gender war going on where, specifically for black people, where, you know, black men and black women are at odds. And, you know, and in general, men and women are at odds, but not like black men and black women are. I don't understand why this is the case. I mean, I know how it started. I know it started with the women's rights movement, convincing black women that they're oppressed by black men, which could be further from the truth. And, you know, they fell for it, you know, and then we had this, you know, all my women independent, I don't need no man movement going on that started in the, essentially started in the 80s and 90s with Gen X women basically telling their daughters they don't need men. But we know we need each other, right? Men need women, women need men, and people need each other in general to thrive and move forward and to evolve as a people, right? If we can't come together and form families and then go from there. So you need family to form communities, right? You need family to form communities. And that's just the bottom line to it. The foundation of a community is family, right? If you have a community full of single people that don't want to have children, that don't want to get married, that don't want to start a family, then what you're going to have are a bunch of bastards running around with no structure or anything like that. They're just running around aimlessly, just living life according to how they want to live it. And this is a problem. This is a problem because this is what they figured out. This is what the elites have figured out. They have figured out way back since before slavery, particularly in the United States, way back before family. I mean, before slavery. You know, the thing was to divide and conquer. It's been like that. That's how they do it. That's how these conquerors, that's how these savages have so many conquests. Divide and conquer. Turn family against family with the tribe. Turn wife against husband, husband against wife within the family. And if you have a divided family, you're going to have a divided tribe. If you have a divided tribe, you have a divided community, and so forth and so on. And this is how they control. You know, if we don't come together and form a unit that is cohesive, then we'll forever be oppressed. You know what I'm saying? We'll forever be oppressed, and that's no more evident than within the black community. That's just the bottom line to it. Within the black community, we are just so divided. Not even just with family, but if you look at all these different black groups, right? All these little movements, you know, from the New Black Panther Party all the way to the group I was in. These different groups within the black community that want to advance black people, right? Want to advance the black community. They can't even come together and form a cohesive movement, right? There's always a motherfucker that wants to be King Tut. There's always the motherfucker that wants to be the chief, that wants to be the boss, that wants shit to be done the way they want it done. What, instead of coming, like, look, let's just put our egos aside, you know, as leaders. Everybody wants to be a fucking boss. No one wants to lead a movement. Y'all want a boss to control a movement. That's not how this shit's gonna work. And, you know, when I look at these different people within the manosphere, within the red pill community, within the conservative community, all these different communities, I'm looking like, you know, your message is not very consistent. You know, there are a lot of people that have very inconsistent and contradictory messages that are living in cognitive dissonance. And I have to kind of like look at them and like, look, man, what is really going on? What are you really up to? Because these are intelligent people. They're intelligent people, and they have to have the sense to know that there's a lot of mixed signals that they're giving off. And that's not going to help anything. It's not going to help. You know? And let's just look at the proletariat versus the elite. The elite, they know what's up. They have strong family foundations. Everything they do is about family. They put family members in these high positions. They keep everything within family. But if you look at the proletariat, it's like, well, you know, I don't want to fuck with family like that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You know, I want to, all this bullshit, right? All this bullshit. You think that we would learn from these people, right? I'm not a people person, right? I'm not a people person. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just deal with the people that I know that I can rock with, right? Which is basically just my immediate family, my wife and my kids. But I could be an isolationist and say, fuck it. Y'all want to act stupid, act retarded? My family good. But at the end of the day, when I look at it, I'm like, well, are they really good? Right? Because my children, I want my children to carry on my family legacy, particularly my sons and even my daughters. I want all my children to have their own children and have families and all this other shit. And if I isolate myself and my family from everybody, well, they're going to have a harder time. So I have to be concerned about what people out there in the world are doing and how they're moving. Because it's for the future of my family. It's not about me, right? And that's what it's all about. And it's about accountability. So many people don't want to be held accountable. So many people don't want to be held accountable. And the way that they gear shit, they steer everything, right? They steer everything through propaganda, through information war. And everything is so focused on what the man is supposed to do, what men are supposed to do, what, you know what I mean? But when, like, men are criticized every day to no end for many different reasons. And men, when we're criticized, we don't say, well, we find out in my mind from what I see, when men are criticized, from my experience, I see them trying to, you know, even if it's ridiculous criticism that's based in, you know, it's like ad hominems or, you know, just base, or just flat out just, you know, just like fucking cracking jokes and all that type of shit. Men have to absorb that shit, suck it up, and drive on, right? Otherwise, we look like motherfucking pussies. We look like punks, all this, that, and the third. You know, we can't be sensitive, because if men come from a sensitive place, then we are vulnerable. And when men are vulnerable, they are under attack. They are attacked for being vulnerable. You understand what I'm saying? Because what is a man supposed to do? A man is supposed to be able to be dangerous when the need arises, right? Or just let that shit roll off their back like motherfucking duck in water. We're supposed to brush it off, move on. We're not supposed to feel any type of way about being criticized. See, that's the major difference. But when women are criticized, we get canceled. When we criticize women, when we call women out on what the shit they supposed to be doing, what they failing at, we get canceled. And y'all know me. I think women are precious human beings that need to be cherished, protected, provided for, all that shit. I'm a traditional man. I'm traditional. In my relationship, I'm traditional. My wife, I'm traditional with my wife. I'm traditional with my children. Even though I wasn't necessarily raised to be traditional, I understood what it was to be traditional. And I'm a provider, a protector, and a great penetrator. And my wife values me and honors me as such. Even though she wasn't raised to be a traditional woman, right? She still don't allow me. She takes the back seat and lets me lead. She lets me make all the major decisions. She trusts me to make the right decisions for our family. You understand what I'm saying? So I am traditional man. And I don't attack women like that. I don't do any of that. I don't sit up here, do any of these things that these men in the manosphere do. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if you can't stand it when a man says you're fat and obese, you need to lose some weight, or that you're too masculine, you're too much in your masculine, you're too bossy, all this, that, and the third, you can't complain about what men are doing, because y'all can talk about it all day. Women can say, oh, he got a little dick, oh, he too short, oh, he don't make enough money, and we're just supposed to accept that. We're just supposed to say, oh, yeah, you know what, I'm a man, she can go ahead and say. But women, and it's not even like, if a man has a conversation with a woman and there's a lot of context and there is an open conversation where she's ready to receive, and she's talking to that man for a purpose, to try to improve her life, improve herself, get advice, she is equipped. Like, I've seen it, right? They will say, well, you know what, I understand. But women outside of the conversation, they'll come and they'll try to cancel whoever it is, whether it be Andrew Tate, whether it be Kevin Samuels, all these other dudes that are doing this. It's like, It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Men are supposed to have everything ride on their shoulders, right? We're supposed to have all this pressure bearing down on us, make things work in the world, make sure the infrastructure is on point, make sure that there are emergency services provided for everybody. We're supposed to do all this. We're supposed to protect the borders. We're supposed to, whatever, arm up and stand and jump in front of bullets for people. But we can't express what we need from women without being lambasted, without being crucified, right? This is very important. This is very important. You know, women are emotional. Women, they behave in their emotions, even though a lot of them are in their masculine. And this is the problem with women being so much in their masculine. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook where I was like, I think I asked the question, if, like, why do men have to earn a woman's femininity, right? Like, a lot of women won't submit or won't be submissive or won't be in their feminine unless they feel the man is worthy of it. But the man is supposed to be in their masculine at all times, have this dangerous and tough exterior and all this other type of shit, and be able to do things and come off as a protector and a provider. We're supposed to show that immediately in order to attract a woman. But they don't feel the need to be in their feminine before we choose them. You understand what I'm saying? We got to actually prove ourselves and all that type of shit. And then one of my cousins was like, yo, anybody with any level of intelligence knows that you had to be balanced within your own feminine and masculine, and basically saying that men are supposed to be within their feminine and masculine, and women are supposed to be within their masculine, all that type of shit. You know that new wave shit. I think who did he say he got that from? I forgot, some Tahuti or some shit, somebody. And I'm like, no, we're not supposed to balance our own masculinity with internal femininity. That's not how it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to be 50-50 feminine masculine. Basically what he's saying. He said, oh, you are supposed to be, because that's where the balance. I'm like, no, you're supposed to, yes. Do men have some feminine within them that they have to tap into in order to not just fly off the handle and just be violent and all that? Yeah, but we're supposed to be able to access some level of femininity, but it's definitely not supposed to be 50-50, right? That's what you need a woman for. You need a feminine woman to balance your masculinity, and that feminine woman needs a masculine man to balance her femininity. That's where you get the balance from. You don't get the balance from your goddamn self. That's not how this shit works. It's not how it works. You know, and that's the delusion that we're operating from in the world today. Oh, we're supposed to tap into our femininity. We're supposed to tap into our masculinity. No, we're not supposed to do that. Right? But we have been. A lot of men have been. They've been tapping into their femininity, all this other type of shit, calling themselves feminist, and not knowing what a feminist is supposed to be. They're just calling themselves, I'm a feminist, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they raise soft-ass sons, or they allow their sons to transition, a la Dwayne Wade, all that type of shit. That's how you get all this gender confusion shit going on, right? That's how you get the gender confusion, because you got people out there saying, no, we need to tap into our femininity, and women are supposed to tap into their masculine. No. That's why we have all this shit going on. That's why we have all these, that's why we have teachers bringing butt plugs to school and all that type of shit to teach 4-year-olds, fourth graders, how to toy with themselves. No, that's completely out of fucking whack. That's what happens when men tap into their femininity and women tap into their masculinity. They turn into the motherfucking other gender. It's not supposed to be 50-50. Because once you get to that 50-50 level, it's easy to teeter over to the other side. And a heterosexual woman does not want a feminine man. Let me repeat that. A heterosexual woman does not want a feminine ass man. You know what I'm saying? Like if she wants a man, even if she's on this, because a lot of women, man, they on this I'm a women independent shit. Oh, I'm gonna put my career first and all this, but they still want a traditional masculine man. They still want a traditional man. They want the man to be traditional, but they still want to have their own fucking money. They want to have this. They want to have their own fucking job and their own careers because in case something happened, I need my own shit. But you still want this man to provide. Look, I was watching the Pineapple. Look, there's a lot of education on these little shows. Y'all think, at first I was like, man, this manosphere shit and all this gender shit, all this gender war, alpha male, fucking all this type of shit. I thought it was just a bunch of bullshit. But as you start looking into it more, this is part of what we're being distracted from. This conversation right here. This is part of what we're being distracted from, right? Any man that thinks a certain way, they're misogynist, right? They hate women. They're canceled, all this type of shit. But it's okay for a woman to be a misandrist, a straight up misandrist like motherfucking Princella and Cynthia G. These women are misandrist. For real. Anytime you preach to a woman, oh, don't marry a man, just focus on yourself, fuck the marriage, fuck the kids. What else are we supposed to think? I don't hear men saying, oh, don't fuck with no women, all this type of shit. Well, they are. They're modern women, they're saying. But the point is this. Are there some misogynists out there in the manosphere? Oh, yeah. Are there misandrists out there? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But again, I was watching the Pineapple Show, right? It's very entertaining because these women, these modern women, show after show after show after show after episode after episode after episode, these women want the same shit. But they want a 6 foot tall or taller, 6 figures or more, and the dick got to be bigger than 6 inches, right? You know, and they want, so the very Melly Monaco asks very pointed questions like, if you move in with a man, right, who is responsible for the rent? Overwhelmingly, these women, right, these independent women that put their careers first, and now they're looking for a man in their 30s to settle down with, or maybe not settle down with, have their own career, have their own money. Overwhelmingly, they want the man to pay all the fucking bills. But they still want to have their own fucking money to where, and they don't want to contribute financially to the relationship, to the financial, to the fund, essentially. Matter of fact, the chick last night, oh, if I move in with a man, he's paying all the goddamn bills. Well, she said all the rent. She said she'll pay some groceries. Right? So you want a traditional man. You want somebody to provide, and you want somebody to protect you. Right? They gotta look a certain way, they gotta be handsome, they gotta have a 6-pack, they gotta have a lot of money, be over 6 feet tall. you know? And but you, what are you providing as a woman? You want a traditional man, but you don't want to be a traditional woman. You want to be an independent woman living off your man, which don't make no sense, right? No, you want to be a dependent woman with your own goddamn money that he ain't got no access to at age 30, in your 30s, in your 40s, sometimes with a fucking kid. Yeah, shot killings. You didn't hear about that? A school in Chicago, I think it was in Chicago. This teacher or a school official in Chicago got caught talking about on Project Veritas, talking about how he brought butt plugs and vibrators and all that shit to class and was showing kids how to use them motherfuckers. When you try to tap into your femininity, that's what the fuck happens. You get all this fucking deviant bullshit going on. Evan in the Wave family says male and female are not only genders to choose from when one wants to change. Where do all these pronouns come from? All these pronouns come from men and women tapping into the shit they ain't supposed to be tapping into. Men and women are supposed to balance each other out. A woman is supposed to stay in her feminine. A man's supposed to stay in their masculine. They come together and they balance each other out. Right? Because that's what my wife does to me. When I'm pissed about some shit, and my wife is very feminine. My wife is feminine. She's submissive. And she wouldn't consider herself to be traditional, but she is, because she stays at home with the kids, and teaches, homeschools my kids, all that type of shit. And she is submissive to me. She wasn't raised to be that way though. No one taught her how to do that. It's just something that she decided she wanted to do. And now she's trying to get into real estate, which is perfectly fine for me, because it will still give her enough time and flexibility to focus on the children in the house. But anyway, I asked two different questions. I asked two different questions in the title. One was, are men responsible for women's decisions? Why do I ask that? Well, I was on a live stream with the radical black conservative Irene Yvette, and I was on the panel, and there were like three other women plus her on this panel and me. So a lot of shit came up. We were talking about that Tate Powers, or what the fuck his name is, Andrew Tate, and we're talking about Andrew Tate and Brittany Renner, and all that type of shit. And I had to defend men for about an hour and a half to 4 different women. And exactly, Jay with open eyes. People being equally tapped into their femininity, masculinity is fucking stupid, because that would literally defeat the whole purpose of... Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If we were 50-50, we'd be fucking hermaphrodites. We would be able to have sex with ourselves and impregnate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We'd be like the earthworms. We're not earthworms. That's not how it's supposed to work. And how do you quantify femininity and masculinity? If you were to take it to biochemical level. Testosterone and estrogen. Women have higher levels of estrogen than testosterone. And this affects their hormonal situation. Right? And if they're out of balance, then they're all fucked up. They lose their periods, all this type of shit. And if men, right? If man's testosterone crashes, they have low energy, they're weaker, all that type of shit. And so, to me, that's how you quantify, on a biochemical level, a person's masculinity versus femininity. If I had equal parts estrogen and testosterone, I'd be all out of whack. All out of whack. No, I need my testosterone much higher than my estrogen and progesterone. Women need their progesterone, well, I think it's estrogen at a much higher level than a man has estrogen. And so if we had equal parts femininity and masculinity, testosterone and estrogen on a biochemical level, because femininity is deeper than just a biochemical, but that affects, right, a woman's emotional femininity, right? So if a woman's hormones is out of whack, they're more aggressive, right? They're more aggressive, they're more angry, they're quicker to snap at you, they're quicker to they're you know what I'm saying? Like their shit all fucked up. Their pH balance is out of whack. And women are a lot more susceptible to having their fucking hormones out of whack. But anyway, is a man responsible? So this is what came up. We were talking about women like Brittany Renner, right? And how, you know, Brittany Renner, she's a hoe. She is a very promiscuous woman, I'll say. And she would be on her little IG lives talking about she loved to suck D and screwing this guy, screwing that guy, did a tell-all book, jumped from dude to dude to dude with some bread, and eventually got pregnant by a basketball player, and now she has a kid. And we're talking about women like that in general and how, you know, this behavior is unacceptable, and what's going on with that, right? And basically, Irene Yvette said that it's man's fault because of male hypocrisy. Okay, male hypocrisy. So instead of holding women accountable, she wanted to blame it on male hypocrisy. What is male hypocrisy? Well, it's when a man basically shames a woman, right, for being ultra promiscuous, being a whore, basically, putting themselves out there, being ran through and being proud of it, dressing a certain way, behaving a certain way, putting their shit out on blast. She blamed that on male hypocrisy, on men shaming women that do that, right? But then they'll turn around and basically jack off to a woman like that, or have desires and want to have sex with a woman like that, right? And what I tried to explain to her, I was like, well, men, in terms of having sex, yeah, like if a man is single and Brittany Renner is giving it up and she talking about how good she sucked D, well, a man might want to try that out. Might want to bang her. You know what I'm saying? A smart man would not want to, because we don't know what she got. All these little celebrities and all that be having herpes and all kind of shit. HPV, you know, all that shit, right? But a man, yeah, you might want to get a little guac from somebody like Brittany Renner who's bragging about it. But that would be all we would want from her, right? We definitely wouldn't want to marry a Brittany Renner. But she calls that male hypocrisy. If men didn't desire for a woman to be putting herself out like that, if a man didn't have sexual desires toward women who flaunt their bodies and give themselves up easily to men, then women wouldn't want to do that. So therefore, it's a man's fault, is what she said. She said it's the fault of male hypocrisy. And, you know, Irene Yvette is very smart. So I'm like, but I couldn't really get too many words in, because they would attack, you know, they would come after me if I said certain things a certain way, cut me off, all this type of shit. You know, it's not my platform, so I can't motherfucking just. So I was like, whatever, you know. And she said men have a problem admitting to their male hypocrisy. Like, if you explain to a man that male hypocrisy is the problem, then he short circuits and all this other type of shit. Oh, men don't know how to hear that. Men don't know what to do with that information. And I'm like, you know what? I'll sit up here right now and I'll say, yeah, there is male hypocrisy. Now what? Yeah, that's male hypocrisy. Oh, well, we need to hold men accountable. Okay. All right. So what if I go to a man and say, hey, stop being a male hypocrite? What is that going to do? You want me to snatch him up by his collar and say, stop being a male hypocrite? Beat his ass? What? Then what? So, okay. So if a man admits, yeah, there's male hypocrisy, is that going to change the woman's behavior? Is that going to stop men from being sexual beings? Men are openly sexually hungry, right? Men men are horny naturally. Women are just as horny, right? Even though she tried to say, oh, women aren't, whatever. I ain't gonna get into all that. But men, by nature, desire women sexually. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean we're all R words and sexual assaulters. No, that just means that, hey, if a woman's putting herself out there like that, I like big boobs, I like big booties, and like nice legs being all out and pretty and all this shit. Yeah, men are gonna be more. Yeah. And yes, a man can be a whore, right? A man can whore, have a lot of sex and be promiscuous, and then point out somebody else that's promiscuous. That's not hypocrisy. She tried to say that was hypocrisy, to say that, oh, you sleeping around a lot, but then you're saying that this woman's sleeping around a lot. Well, yeah. I'm sexually active with a lot of different women, and so is she. How is that hypocrisy to point that out? Now, when you say it's wrong, oh, you're bad for being sexually active, but I'm sexually active, then that's hypocrisy. But even if it is, okay, I acknowledge the hypocrisy. Now what? Whose responsibility is it to teach women how to be ladies and to behave in a certain way? Who should they learn that from? Should they learn that from the man out there in the world that they don't fucking know, that's oogling them? Is a man, okay, you can tell a man to stop acting like you like women with breast and booty, but that's not gonna do shit, right? You can't do that. That's not how it works. Who is responsible for raising girls to be into ladies, regardless of what men like, or what men like just to have fun with, I'll say? Because a man who wants to be a husband and wants a wife is going to love a more conservative, more, modest woman. So whose responsibility is it if a man wants a wife, but you got women out here acting like men and running around, getting ran through and running through dudes? Who's responsible? Is a man responsible for raising a girl to a lady? Whose responsibility is it? Even in my family, if it starts with family. It starts with me and my wife. If I want my daughters to be respectable ladies who are going to be someone's wives one day, it's up to me and my wife to ensure that we bring them up to be that, not some dude that they ain't never met that might see them out on the street. No, it's not their responsibility. It's not the men in the world's responsibility to make sure that my daughters are raised properly and that they're not just out there in the world doing whatever the hell they want to do with their bodies, thinking that they can just still get what they want at the end of the day when they're ready to settle down. Women have to be held responsible for their own actions. You have to be held accountable for your own actions. Yes, the man is the leader, right? The man is the leader. We're supposed to lead. But me, I'm not responsible for some girl's daughter that I ain't never, like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. You raise your daughter up right. If you want your daughter to be respected and be treated like a lady, she has to present herself as such. It's not my responsibility. It's the bottom line to it. You know what I'm saying? I need to get this truck in. But anyway, and then there was another thing. I mean, what do y'all think? Let me know, am I off base here? Because I don't see how. Yeah. I don't see how that works. No, it's not male hypocrisy. It's not male hypocrisy that is the problem. No. Hypocrisy exists all over the place. There's female hypocrisy. There's female hypocrisy. And that's something I went over earlier. Right? There's female hypocrisy where they can talk shit about a dude's physical appearance, height, weight, dick size, all that type of shit, but then get mad when you talk about they shit. But that woman is not responsible for my behavior. She's just a hypocrite. That's somebody I could just be like, whatever, you don't make no goddamn sense. But I'm still responsible for myself. You, like, what if we were to blame women, female hypocrisy, for men being out here being out of pocket? Oh man, y'all have a fit. We have to be more cognizant of how we present information, because, you know, I mean, we live in a world where everything is out in the open, and, you know, everything's out in the open and everybody can see what you're saying and line it up with your actions and to what's really going on. And then I posed another question. Should men shower women, right? Shower them. Shower women that are going to be focusing on their careers, focusing on getting a bag. The reason I ask this is because this is something that the Real Film Sapien said. This chick Allie. You know, you can't get too much good content from these people. So she said that something about, you know, woman, you know, if you can't get what you want right away out of a man, then you should focus on your career. And any man that is going to want to be with you should shower you. Well, I'll say this, right? Why should a man shower a woman who's focused on her career? And why should a man shower a woman that has yet to show him that she should be showered? You see what I'm saying? Why should I shower you before you show me that you are going to be a worthy wife? I'm not going to shower just some chick that I might be interested in. No, you have to show me that you are a willing wife, that you want to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to shower just any old body. And I don't understand why she would say that. You call yourself the Real Film Sapien and you're supposed to be, you know, this red pill shit, red pill, blue pill, all this is terms that don't really mean shit at the end of the day. Your actions show you who you are. And if you're telling women, oh, well, you know, focus on your career and have a man shower you before you give them any play, that's not good advice at all. It's not good advice, right? She was talking about how she was in the military, and then these guys, oh, they had a problem with showering women. Like, no, why should they? No. If you were a soldier, you know, soldiers don't get paid a lot of fucking money. I mean, at least when I was in, I didn't get no. I mean, we had everything I had, all the expenses that I need paid for were paid for. Medical, food. I didn't even have to pay for food if I didn't want to. All this type of shit. But we didn't have a lot of bread to be showering women. What's wrong with you? No. You're expecting. You're expecting to get something from these men before you even show them that they're going to be taken care of as men who are providing. Shit is wild, man. Now, if you want to be a sugar baby, well, that's something you got to be clear on. There's plenty of men out there that are willing to have sugar babies and take care of that. But if you want a husband, fuck out of here. Very bad advice. Anyway, I gotta get out of here. Gotta get this truck serviced, and y'all holla at y'all later. Just thought I'd come in and talk about that real quick. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out, the way in. Much love, like, share, subscribe. And we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.